Early buyers of Apple made a fortune. Early buyers of Microsoft made millions. Early buyers, even in the dot-com boom, which then was followed by a bust, made fortunes. And the right crypto investments combined with the right timing will be earth-shatteringly profitable. It already has been for so many. The question is, has that been you? And have you made your first million yet? Because if not, you're in the right place. And if you have, you already know you're in the right place. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel and our family. Now, if you, like me, came into crypto because you realize the potential here for life-changing gains, and you realize it's best played out over the long term because you can make sure the odds are stacked in your favor that way, and you're looking for those discussions on becoming a solid, unshakable, even savage crypto investor, much like a Navy SEAL in the crypto investing world, you're in exactly the right place and with the right family, the Rainmaker family. Now, the reason I created this channel is because I once knew the crypto space 8 years ago. And back then, what I wanted more than anything was a crypto channel on YouTube that I could hear long form content that went into depth on different crypto projects and why they may be worth investing, especially when they're underpriced. Well, I didn't find that because it doesn't monetize well, because YouTube does not push out videos on things that are underpriced because nobody is searching for those specific companies. And so it really gets punished by the YouTube algorithm. So it's not profitable that way. What is profitable is if you're an investor and you're looking for those anyway, why not share that information out? And I was doing all that research anyway. My background was 18 years of investing before I even found crypto. And I had already spent 4 years in the crypto space and set myself up really well for the 2021 run. So in late 2020, I started this channel. And since I was doing all the research, why not share it out? And I had this idea that if I grew an audience, sharing with them, I know I was looking for that information. My guess is other people were too. That together, if we got enough viewership, even though the algorithm would punish it, enough viewership, we would be able to get access to interviews with many of the companies out there so that we could get together even better information than we'd be able to get by ourselves. Well, that has worked out beautifully. Many of you already know this because you've been with me on this journey now for years. And we've had interviews with some amazing companies over the past 3 years. Many of those are set up and primed to do incredible in this coming bull run, and I'm looking forward to that. Also, big shout out to our strategic partners, Definity and OneChain. These strategic partners are both investments that I already held before the strategic partnership because I believe in what they're doing. And through the strategic partnership, they give us access to the team even better, as well as they give us tokens to give away on our Friday live streams when we do those once a month. So thank you to them. That's amazing. Now, back to the topic of hand, making your first million in crypto. Now, most don't realize that a crypto explosion is absolutely coming. Now, if you're here, you probably realize that, especially if you followed this channel. In that explosion, millionaires will be made, decamillionaires will even be made, and even some billionaires. And much of this is going to happen in the coming 3 to 9 months. But most will miss out on the gains, and they will simply jump in late, and they will probably lose money. I hate that it plays out that way. It just does. So how do I know this? Well, back when I started in crypto in 2017, I came in mid bull run, October 2017. I invested about $15,000, went to about 180, 170, somewhere in there, $1,000. And then it pulled back to about $3,000. And, I was licking my wounds a little bit because had I taken profits while I was ahead, I was like, I would have been ahead. But I realized crypto's cycle doesn't just steadily climb over this. It seems to go up every 4 years massively and then pull back pretty massively. Although it's still, many projects stay higher. They don't go to the lows that they were before, as long as they're good long-term companies. And that if I played that right, I bet you in 2021 there would be another massive run. So from 2018, 2019, 2020, I dollar cost averaged as much as I could in. And I bought low, and sometimes it even went lower. That's a problem of dollar cost averaging. But I had this thesis that 2021 would be really good for crypto, because it seems like the year after the Bitcoin halving, combined with some political things that go on that drive interest rates down, the combination of those two things would send prices skyrocketing again, starting with Bitcoin, bleeding into the alts, and then the lower altcoins. Well, that's exactly what happened. And I was able to do well enough in 2021 that I was like, wow, in a third world country, I would be set and live like a king for the rest of my life. In a first world country, I still could live with never having to work again if I was just somewhat careful with the money. All from one cycle. So that's playing out again in 2025. And many of you have been on this journey, because where you really make life-changing gains for the rest of your life is 2 cycles that you're prepared for. Because the first one hopefully will make you your first million or more, depending on how much you have to put in and what you bought and how smart your buys were. Do note, I'm not your financial advisor, and I'm not going to tell you what to buy. I do tell you what I like, and more importantly than what I like, tell you why I like it, because what I'm hoping here is that you become savage investors, able to think on your own, not just little program, people, robots that are walking around repeating whatever I'm interested in, but you're deciding what you're interested in based on analysis of what you like behind the project. My hope is that each of you becomes completely autonomous. If something were to happen to me, it wouldn't matter, because you have internalized these skills and become amazing, and so that you can continue the pattern of making massive amounts of money, not only in crypto, because we might have 1 or 2 cycles left if we're lucky. I think we'll have this bull run. If we have another one after that, I think there's a good chance we will. But after that, I don't know. So if you're here right now, you have time to have 2 cycles that you're prepared for, because the second cycle that sends you into decamillionaire or even 100 millionaire or even billionaire status, that's not likely to happen on just one cycle. But on one cycle, you can make your first million, which if you then harvest and set to the side and then reinvest during the down market, can set you up to make much, much bigger goals that you can be retired. And by retired, that just means you're now managing your own investment fund. You're letting your money work for you rather than trading your time for money, which is probably what you have to do still right now. And by doing that, you then can be wherever you want to be. And isn't that really the goal? I know that was my goal. And that's why I was in real estate investment and some other investments, but mostly real estate, because real estate can do that for you. It's just much slower. Crypto, because the volatility goes sky high and then it pulls down. And that's part of the benefit, because it pulls down so heavily. That opens up the opportunity to buy low so that you can then sell high. We are live, everyone. Great to have you here. Chris saying, howdy, Jay and Rainmakers. Impromptu show. I love it. Potts Weber 73. What's up from New York City? Good to have you here. I'm here, Jay. Hoping we're ready for the fireworks. That was one tough bear market. Yes, many of you have been with me since 2021. Some of you coming in 2022, a few of 2023, and a few coming in 2024. And whenever you get here is great. What I'm hoping is you really understand this principle of buying low, and there are still so many options to buy low. Most of the high risk altcoins haven't really run yet. Now, Bitcoin's significantly up already. It's not the undervalued thing that it was. Could it go up from here before? Realize that Bitcoin might top out between 150 to 185,000. However, if we're hit a super cycle, then it might top out between 200 to 5,000 if we hit a super cycle. So if we don't, Bitcoin's had most of its gains. However, some of the larger cap altcoins have only experienced some of their gains. Like XRP went from bouncing between 30 cents to 60 cents up to the 250 range between there and $4. So it's already had some of its gains. I think there's a lot of gains left for XRP, some of the other ISO coins, but the lower cap altcoins, most of them have not experienced most of their gains yet. That onslaught is coming, and it will be crazy how high some of these go. Now, which ones will go at 100x, 1000x? We don't know. All we can do is we can take research for what probabilities are, what narratives have a high likelihood to run, and then the best projects that are massively undervalued within those. And that's a lot of what I've been covering for the last 4 years. Now, I don't need to bring them to you again because most of them are all still inexpensive. And so you can look at my past history of videos and watch them then. Because YouTube doesn't pay me well, my investments pay me well. So you'll notice I don't do daily YouTube things. Why? Well, because I'm an investor that has a YouTube channel. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't need YouTube for my income stream. Like most people covering crypto on YouTube, realize that is where their wealth is made. Their wealth is not made from their own investments. Their wealth is made by essentially farming views, covering crypto, and through their sponsorships and other things. That's how they pay all their bills. That's how they have those nice things. But realize, because that is their incentive to get as many views as possible, they do not cover undervalued gems because that doesn't monetize well at all. Undervalued gems, where you make a fortune as an investor. Covering them, you don't make hardly any money. Not from that. You get very few views. Now, later you'll get some views. A good example of this is Axie Infinity was one of my investments I made during the bear market. And when I started my YouTube channel, I did a couple of videos on Axie Infinity. I also covered some other things, but they didn't get hardly any views then. Now, 6 months later, when the prices ran crazy, those videos got some views, but most the views went to people who were then covering them at that time when they were already way high, because that's where you can engagement farm by covering them then. And so, but what people didn't realize is the opportunity was missed, because the opportunity to buy was when it was cheap. I mean, the simple way to make money in any investment thing is buy low, sell high. So say we covered Devy today, which I think is an amazing buy price right now. That's Devvy, DEVVE. In fact, let me pull up the charts even. We can take a look at it together. I was just looking at it anyway. So remember, to make crazy money in crypto, it's buy low, sell high. Now, when Devy went dirt cheap, and the only reason it ever got so cheap down here was a combination of bear market combined with token investing. Now, they had a fairly fast token vesting to their pre-sale investors that happened, I think, over the first 10 months. So when it launched, a lot of hype went into it, pumped really high, and then the token vesting pressure plus the bear market pushed the price down. And when it was down here, I was telling everyone, oh my gosh, Devy should never be this cheap. Now, did doing videos on Devy make me any money from YouTube views? No, not really. Hardly any views on those videos, because Devy's price was going down. Most people don't want to watch videos on something when their price is going down because it's not exciting. And buying things when they're cheap doesn't feel very exciting. We all inherently know in order to make money, we got to buy low and sell high. But what we tend to do is we want to buy when it's high, so we get confirmation that not only confirmation that the trend is turned around, but we feel really secure the trend is turned around. And you realize there was way more people buying right here than right here. And this is why so few don't make money in crypto. Here was the amazing buying opportunity. Here was even an amazing buying opportunity. Here was not as an amazing of a buying opportunity, yet that's where a lot of the buying happened. Now, as frequently happens in crypto, what goes up then pulls back down if we're not in the greater bull market yet. So it went up to $1.80, pulled back down to some amazing buy prices again. So covering Devy right here will not lead to a lot of views. That's okay. Because some of you, like you get it. If you're here, you're the type of people I'm looking for that understand buying low so that you can sell high. Now, this isn't a terribly low price. It's just not anywhere as good as anywhere in this zone. And later, the price, I think, is going to go to $20, $30, $50. I hope it even goes into hundreds of dollars. So these people will have made good money if they didn't sell. Just not as good of money as people loading up or dollar cost averaging massively in this zone. But this is the harder zone to buy in. Why? Because it just seems like it's going to stay cheap forever. Another one I've been covering for forever, and geez, looks like maybe it wants to break out of this pattern, and there is a good chance it breaks out of this pattern. This is a Comey, and this one I've been covering for forever. And during the bear market, it's mostly only gone down. In fact, let me pull up a different chart. Why? Well, because in the previous bull market, it went so massively high that what goes up, realize that what goes up does come down. And so OMI's price has gone down and down and down. And one of the downsides of dollar cost averaging when things are really cheap is sometimes it gets even cheaper for you. That happened to me buying Cardano. But realize my holdings in Cardano alone made me over $1 million in the last bull market. So Cardano alone made me a millionaire. But my first buy on Cardano was when it went to 11 cents. And then it went to 9 cents. And then it went to 7 cents. And then it went to 5 cents. Then it went to 3 cents. And I doubled my position at 3 cents. Now I was a little bit licking my chops like, oh my gosh, I wish I had known it'd get so cheap. Because I could have bought everything at 3 cents and I'd be so much farther ahead. But how would I have known that? So that's not a realistic expectation. Now, it would have been nice to know that OMI would probably, I think the bottom of OMI is in. It would have been amazing to know that that bottom would be right here because I dollar cost averaged all through here. And then I load up a bunch more in this zone, which was great. And now I think with this recent breakout, like I don't think these lows are going to get hit again. I think we're too close to the bull market for altcoins. And this pattern, I think the way it's playing out, it looks like it wants to break further to the upside. Now, OMI fundamentally has been way cheaper than it ever should have gotten. I think the only reason it hit so low is because it went too high the last bull market. And what goes way too high, the pendulum swings back the other way. And it has, right? Even still, like it's still at a good deal. If we were to look at a Comey, we'll see the market cap is now 125 million. It was at a market cap of about 50 million. That's still really low for this project. The market cap for this could easily be in the tens of billions in the coming bull run. And so that's one of my favorite undervalued investments is this one as well. Okay, Zephyr says, let's go. MVE says, LFG rain. I like it. What's up, Bill Gardner? Kevin Hawthorne, good to have you here. All right. Hey, Rain, what's your OMI price prediction for this bull run? I would say 2 cents to 50 cents, somewhere in there. Where is Paul? Paul joined us yesterday. This is just an impromptu live stream just to go live with you guys. talk about whatever you want to talk about, as well as some of what I want to talk about is the principles of becoming rich through crypto, which is fundamentally why everyone comes into crypto. It's just most people do it wrong. And so it's okay. A lot of people don't resonate with this message when you tell them specifics. Like everyone understands buy low, sell high. But what's funny is that so few people do that, right? So buy low means buying Devi in this price range. And this will someday seem very low too. But this is buying low. Anywhere in this zone, and even including in under $2, was buying low with Devi. But when I cover Devi now, it doesn't get many views. Even if I label it like top undervalued altcoin, it'll get some extra views pulled in there. People will see that I'm covering something that the price is way down on, and they just bounce off of it because it doesn't resonate with them. They want to chase into something that is already showing massive gains. So they want to buy something that's already gone up 10x, which is a mistake. One of my principles is don't chase green candles. Yet that's what most people want to do. They want to buy something that's gone 10x. They want to hope it goes another 10x from there or 50x from there. And that may happen. The likelihood is just really, really low. Realize that, for example, Devi going down to, say you're able to get some at you were able to get some at 40 cents. When it goes 10x from here to $10 or to $4 is when tons of people are going to want to load in. And they're going to hope that it goes 10 to 50x from there. Realize though, because you bought cheap, when it goes 10x for them, you're at 100x. So they're at 10x and you're at 100x. Should have gone 40x, then they would then be lucky and be at 40x. But realize you would be at 400x. Do you realize why they miss out on the major gains? Is because they already missed one of the critical points of the run. And so they missed buying low so that they could then sell high, because you're going to be taking profits at 100x and they might still be holding in because they're only 10x up, hoping that it goes to 40x, and you're easily taking profits and in massive profitability. And that's why the people that play it this way, this is all the millionaires, decamillionaires, and billionaires I know in the crypto space, this is how they play it. And it's a smart way to play it. They buy it when it's really low, like what we're talking about, and then they just hold it till it goes more crazy, and then they start taking profits. When will Definity and Devi start to move? That's a really good question. Chart on Devi looks like it does want to turn around. So it's trending sideways right now, but this is actually somewhat positive. It does want to turn around. It hasn't yet, but it's probably not very far away that's going to start heading the other direction. But I don't have a magic crystal ball. I don't know when exactly. Now, if you get really, really deep into charting, you can get some extra insights, but all you can identify is probabilities. You cannot identify when things will turn around. You can only identify probabilities of when it may turn around. What can OMI do? Do you mean price? What price runs might it do? Now, Comey, like I said, 2 cents to 50 cents is my guess. OMI is at now 0.04. So if it goes to 2 cents, that's a 50x from 0004. If it goes to 50 cents, then that, what's that? 50 cents from 0004. That would be 1000x. Yeah. little over 1,000x if it goes to 50 cents. Now, I don't know, and I won't be holding all my OMI till it hits 50 cents. Even if it does go to 50 cents, I'll be taking profits along the way. I will have very little left if it even goes that high, but it could. I don't know exactly where it'll go. But from the lows, that would be a 2.5kx increase from the lows of where OMI went if it goes to 50 cents. At 2 cents, that's a solid 100x from the bottom. Devy, realize I'm highly biased on both OMI and Devy. I have big bags of both. They're some of my bigger holdings in crypto. And so where Devy is interesting because I think even if it doesn't give massive traction, I think it goes $10 plus, even without massive traction, which is still solid gains from here. That would be what, like a 20 something X. I think Devy could go into the hundreds of dollars. So their big partnership announcement is going to be a really big deal when it's finally announced. And as long as they don't, as long as they're able to catch some hype and some attraction, I think they've got a solid case to be in the hundreds of dollars. So somewhere between $100 to $700 for their token price. Now that's massively up from here. Realize that a $500 token is over 1,000x from here. That's why I get excited, because I think it's got really good potential to at least make 15x, if not much, much more, but also has potential to do 1,000x from here. 4 long years and OMI's time is up. Yeah, I think its time is ready, right? So realize that these cycles go every 4 years, roughly. It's not an exact cycle either. It's roughly every 4 years. There's a few different factors. One of the factors has been the U.S. SEC under Joe Biden was so anti-crypto, held things back. Another factor is normally the U.S. Fed every 4 years lowers interest rates much sooner than they have this 4-year cycle. And that leads to a lot of cash inflows into riskier assets. And that's been part of what makes crypto go absolutely boom. But probably they're going to be lowering some interest rates soon again. And that will increase money flows into riskier assets like crypto. All right. Hi, guys. Comey having a nice pump now. 23% up in an hour. It is going crazy. We look at this, right? So the last little bit, it just took a huge wick up like this. So we'll see if it breaks above this. We'll see if it breaks above that. Pink Panther says, let's go, Debbie. We were all lonely. Chris J to the rescue. Comey to 001 soon. I think so. Just a 10x from then and I break even. Yeah. A 10x from that price. So at 1 cent you break even. If that's true, you didn't dollar cost average enough during the bear market at the really cheap prices. Do I think 2 cents on OMI is slam dunk? I think highly likely to hit at least 2 cents. Not a slam dunk, much as highly likely. Fun under the sun. Good to have you here, brother. Cronor, good to see you. Yo, makers. All right. Yes, this is live. I love the bottom, all of them. Check out Momo is at the bottom. You're right. Salt highs when it's crazy. Momo, isn't that a meme coin? I don't really do meme coins. I know we cover them on Wednesdays just because with Paul joining us, it's just strictly price analysis on his end, right? And so meme coins, price analysis works great for meme coins. There's not a lot of fundamentals to look at with meme coins. So I don't invest in them because judging the predictability is too difficult. What I'm looking for is high predictability. So at Comey, I feel like because the business has so much cash coming in, there's a high chance it survives to the coming bull run. It's in a really strong narrative that I think is going to grow massively as like the Web3 world awareness and this digital awareness increases. I think digital collectibles, the awareness increases massively, and they're the biggest player in digital collectibles so far. So I think the probability that their token does well is really, really high. Couple that with high potential upside. So you're really using research to stack the odds in your favor. And OMI is a perfect example of a bet that is massively lopsided for you. Like, I don't go to the casino because at the casino, the betting is lopsided against you. It means the house has better chances to win than you do. And even if you do win, you just like double your money, depending on which game that you're playing. But the odds are against you. If you play the cycle right in crypto and you use research to find companies that have a stronger likelihood to survive, things are massively lopsided in your favor if you're buying low and you're researching the companies to figure out who has high likelihood to survive. So say you're investing in a company has a 70% chance to survive. And in the bull run, it can do 10 to 500x. So realize you still have a 30% chance you're going to lose that money. And if you lose that money, well, then it could go to zero. So say you put $10,000 into something, one of your bets, or $1,000 into one of your bets, and it goes to zero. It had a 70% chance to succeed, and well, crap, it failed. Well, as long as you diversified across several different projects, if every one of them has at least a 70% chance to win, 7 out of 10 of your bets, so say you put 1,000 into each of them, 7 out of 10 will survive. And if they have potential upside between 10x to several hundred x, say the average of that is 50x, and you put $10,000 in, 1,000 in each project, and 7 survive, and your average is 50x, then you go from $10,000 to $350,000. Amazing. Over a 4-year period. So you were buying in the bear market and then you were taking profits in the bull market. That's why I love crypto, is because you can use research and timing to stack the odds in your favor rather than against you. Now, most people are going to wait till the bull run. And I'll show you, unfortunately, exactly what they're going to do. And it's the wrong way to do things. So let me show you one that I made a bunch of money on, but I also got out at the right time. And I'll show you, well, why so many people lose on these. So this is Engine. And Engine was one of the first really NFT type companies. And I invested in it during the bear market when it was cheap here. And then massive momentum came in. And this is where I was selling on this way up. Now, what did most people do? They didn't come in during this period. They came in during this period. Oh my gosh, Engine's so cool. NFT is going to be amazing. They're going to like change the world. And so they were buying at $1.60 and $2.40 and $3. And you know what? If they waited, we did have a double peak top. They could have exited. Yeah. They could have exited later that year in October at a profit, but they probably didn't. They probably even dollar cost average more at this. Do you see they're doing it all backwards? That's not how you make your first million in crypto. This is how you lose your $10,000 really quick. Now, somewhat, I did that in 2017. 2017, it would be the equivalent of me buying in at like 50 cents after the price had already started running up, not anywhere near the lows at like 12 cents and 13 cents, but at 50 cents. And I did not take profits up at, say, the $3 range back in 2017 in some of the investments I was in. And so I took the full ride down, and I learned my lesson the hard way. And I'm sharing that lesson with you so many of you don't have to make it. Now, I know some of you made those same mistakes in 2021, but you learned and stuck around, just like I did after 2017. And then I dollar cost average. So many of you, you're well prepared for this bull run, and it's going to be massively changing for you. I love you guys. Turn around every now and then. I fall apart. I need you now tonight. I like that song. Need you more than ever. All right. What's my target for Devi Rain? Well, really, what I'm hoping for is in the $100 to $700 range, or $70 to $700 range. I know that's quite a big range. I don't have a magic crystal ball to know where it's going to go to, but I think based on the fundamentals, it could justify a price like that if it gets the kind of attention that the fundamentals deserve. I don't know if it will. There were some projects I was looking at in the last bear market that I thought the same thing about, and some of them got way, way more attention than I was even hoping for. One of those was Axie Infinity. Some other ones didn't get the traction I thought, and they still made some money, but not the 3,000x returns that Axie Infinity made. Only monthly RSIs at 29, long way to 70, could be 12 months plus of runway. Remember, bull runs come slowly and then suddenly. I think when it really pops, it's going to go pretty fast. Thanks for the stream, Rain. Yeah, glad to be with you all. Is Bump officially dead? They are not officially dead, but boy, are they on life support. Their price action, what they've done is really genius. I just hope they can survive until the bull run happens, because what they've figured out and designed is incredible. It's just been such a long bear market, and DeFi hasn't meaningfully run since 2021. It did not have an intermediate narrative run in the whole of the bear market, and that's probably because the SEC under Gary Gensler and Joe Biden was so anti-crypto, so anti-DeFi, trying to destroy any legitimate DeFi projects out there. And so that's probably why there wasn't room for it to run. Now, Donald Trump is changing the culture of the SEC tremendously, 180-degree difference under Donald Trump. And his family has their own DeFi project. So I imagine DeFi is going to become a really big narrative in this bull run if Bumper survives till then. And I hope they do. I have almost 6 figures invested in Bumper. So we'll see. Like, the whole of the market cap is less, I think, right now than what I've even invested in Bumper. But that happens. I suspect they'll survive as long as they just stay in low flow mode and wait. Really good group of guys, amazing technology. Sometimes it's hard to survive the bear market till your idea really catches on, and I hope they do. I love those guys. Freelander, good to have you here. Can't see your link, Death Bunny. I have no idea what your link is about. Usually it won't even let links come through. So I'm just going to grab another Rockstar so we can chill and talk. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? You have me live. What's on your mind? While you guys are thinking of some of those things, look, the channel direction is going to change. So Tonio, what is Rockstar? Oh my gosh, it is heaven. Is an energy drink. I don't recommend getting started on these. They are not good for you, but they're my vice. I don't really do much alcohol. drugs, that's not my thing either. So caffeine is my drug. No, I'm not into meme coins at all. Am I buying anything right now, or are you just waiting? The only challenge with buying right now is I'm fully deployed. And so it's like, what free capital? I quit my day job back in 2021 after that life-changing bull market. So, would I be buying more? Yes, I would be buying. Well, up until this last week, OMI at that price, 0002 was such an incredible price, anywhere near there. Now, it's not too far from there, but man, that was such a juicy dollar cost average range. Devi at 43 cents, anything under 50 cents on Devi is absolutely incredible. I would even be throwing coffee money into Bumper, but it would be in $50 buys, like $25 here, $25 there. Just what I call coffee money. I don't put meaningful positions into Bumper. It's just like, I don't know if I were to give them a percent chance to survive, it might only be 50% chance to survive. It may be less. If they do, they might do 1,000x or 2,000x. Their market cap is so low right now. You can get so much Bumper for so cheap. If they survive, massive upside gains, just if they survive. OneChain's been lately at a crazy low price, even though so much what they do is now deployed and getting usage. It's in a really good point. I would be buying also VV Collectibles. I would be buying UFC Strike, NFL all day. Maybe an occasional NBA Top Shots, XRP, and what else? Yeah. Even though XRP has had some of its run, and that's kind of a bummer, it's still at a pretty good price. So anything under $3 on XRP, I feel like it's a really good deal. Not as great of a deal, but a really good deal. Yes, I think OneChain goes above its highs that came after the ICO, and it went on the market. It went to about $10. I think it exceeds that this bull run. I don't know why UFC Strike is switching to Aptos. Now, UFC Strike is not as closely tied to NBA Top Shots and NFL All Day as much. So why they're moving to Aptos, I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I don't know. I do have a ton of UFC Strike moments, but even how they rolled out is so different than NFL All Day. And so it's been clunky, really, on the UFC side of things. And but they're the first NFTs of some of the biggest sports stars in the world. MMA is a really big deal. And that's why I've been buying those. Because so much of the world watches MMA, and it's going to grow more over time. So the audience is going to get real big. So like Conor McGregor moments, absolutely. Some of the big stars, yeah, I think they're a big deal. I couldn't find their marketplace. Yeah, right now, like something is wrong. Last time I tried to go to their site. Yeah, it pops up for a second. It says that it's moving to Aptos, and then an application error happens. So I'm not quite sure. Like, obviously, I wouldn't be able to buy more UFC Strike till that gets figured out. Rain, curious to know what you think the announcement David has up his sleeve for VV. If VV has a presence with FIFA World Cup taking place in US, Canada, and Mexico, that would draw a lot of eyes. I don't know. I haven't heard rumors of FIFA, and maybe there are. I don't follow the VV chat on Twitter near as much as like Doctor Stuff does, and obviously Randy. So I usually am not a good guesser at what David is going to announce. Though most guesses end up being wrong, even those who follow super closely. So I don't know. Like,
remember, I'm about buying good deals. So what I like to do is I like to buy what's off of everyone's radar. So things that launched a year and a half ago in the bear market, and they're no longer shiny objects, because sometimes when something first releases, it's a shiny object and everyone chases it. I want to wait till the price gets punished, and then I want to load up on them. And so a lot of what I'm buying was what was the shiny object a year ago, 2 years ago, not what is the shiny object now. Vivi, though, I'll just say, like, they have many of the best brands in the world. Like the price of Omi hasn't really skyrocketed yet, and the Vivi collectibles haven't really skyrocketed back up yet. But I feel the percent chance of that happening is extremely high. I think digital collectibles are going to be a thing, and some of these early digital collectibles will be a really big deal in the future as collectors go digital. And I think that's inevitable. That is going to happen. So I think there's good money in that. After the cyclone, you make gazillions of dollars. Will you be diving into DeFi at all for passive income? Will you be continuing with small caps or just blue chips? So I'm going to take half of my portfolio out of crypto entirely, because right now everything's in crypto. And that is a risky way to do things, but I like that risk because I think the 4-year cycle, and even if it ends up going longer than I hope, it takes 4.5 years, not a big deal. That's still an extremely short time frame. And with fairly high predictability, the kind of predictability and the kind of volatility you have never been able to get in the history of anything. So part of what makes crypto so special is the volatility, the fact that it goes like this and it comes down so cheap, because then you're able to buy so cheap before it then goes again so high. So this cycle predictability combined with the volatility is the magic behind it, as well as being able to research the different narratives and figure out which ones are likely to have strong relevance in the future. It's the most amazing time to become a millionaire in anyone's lives. Never a better time than this, and most will pass it up. And that's okay. I just hope it won't be you, because you're here, right? I can't impact people who aren't here. And some of you are here won't take advantage of the opportunity, but I know most of you will. I came across you, Rain, back in 2020 or 2021. There weren't a lot of Omi Vivi videos back then. Now, Omi, when I first, somebody brought it back to my attention. Now, I actually invested in the Comi's pre-sale, and I forgot about them during the bear market. Now, most of the research I did was on YouTube. And so the only place to really find them was like Twitter and other places. Like, I didn't follow what was going on with the Comi. So it wasn't until it already had a massive part of its run and somebody asked me to cover Omi. And I looked at Omi, I was like, wait, Omi, I know this company. I have some. And it had already done a bunch of its run. It still went 5x from there to the top, but it was missed. However, I started looking at, well, where are these digital collectibles they talked about, and saw that they had their app out. So in early March of 2021, I covered Vivi. Me and some other guy covered it that day. I did an exclusive video on Vivi, and some other guy was covering something else. So there weren't videos for me to watch because nobody was doing videos on it. So that day was the first time Vivi was ever covered on YouTube. And then I did a few more videos on it. Funny enough, half my audience revolted. They were so pissed I was covering Vivi because they wanted me to cover Cardano, but Cardano was already significantly up. It was somewhere between 50 cents to $1. So Cardano was not cheap. But remember, a lot of people want to chase what's already going high. So the time to buy Cardano was when Cardano was 30 cents and below, preferably under 13 cents, ideally at 3 cents. But 50 cents to $1, it still did gains from there. but most of it was missed. So I did this video on VV and how I thought that the Todd McFarlane Batman was going to be a really big deal, being the first Batman on the blockchain, and that you could buy it on the App Store for 80 gems. Now, I got so much hate mail from that. My audience like, get back to covering the real crypto stuff and not this stupid image GIF NFT shit, is what they said. And I still covered it some more, but I was like, well, interesting that I'm having such a revolt. I got a whole bunch of unsubscribes. It was funny. And that's because a lot of people had gotten very myopically focused on one of the things that I covered. Cardano had done and was doing very well. And they only wanted to hear more about Cardano, and they didn't want to hear about new things that were undervalued, which is sometimes what we do as human beings. So, yeah, I did cover VV a number of times other than that, but not tons even. Saley says, I was on it for the Todds. Thank you. That's awesome. The Todd McFarlane Batman did it. It went from $80 to over 16,000. So it did it 200x if you sold right at the top. I don't know if this does directly correlate to crypto. I think you promised 5 years on YouTube. What does the future look like for your channel and your engagement to your audience that has been with you? Fantastic question, Purple Llama. So I'm still going to continue the YouTube channel, but most of what I release as far as research will be released privately. So that will then go and be posted on the Discords. But unless you have access to the Discord, you won't get it. Now, it doesn't monetize well anyway. I will have another channel where I just cover the lifestyle stuff that smart crypto investment has been able to buy. And I will hint to them that they need to join the Discord if they want to learn to make that kind of money. And that's where they'll then get access to videos like this. So all the videos like this will pretty much be behind a paywall. Why? People don't value what they don't have to pay for. The first 5 years, they got it all for free. Cool. To join the Discord, then it would probably be a minimum of $40. Anyone who's already a Rainmaker Patreon member paying a minimum, that the entry level is $20 a month right now, they'll get grandfathered in, be able to continue at the $20 a month. Anybody who joins after I raise the prices to $40, they'll just pay the $40 for forever. And so pretty much all the prices will double. So there's 3 tiers right now. There's the basic Rainmaker level, there's the gold level that pays $100 a month, and then there's the diamond level that pays $500 a month. So those prices will all double, except for people that have already joined. They get grandfathered in. As long as they keep their cards current, they will be grandfathered in those prices for forever. So yeah, a lot of this will be behind a paywall. So the first 5 years will have been for free. After that, like the stuff that I'll be covering, so nice supercars, mansions, trips, pretty girls, travel, exotic destinations. That's really what most people want in their life. And so I'll be showing them that. And then I'll be like, if you want to learn how to have this for yourself, you got to join the private Discord. I no longer do those kind of videos for free. You have to pay for them. And if you don't want to pay for them, then you don't understand the value. And that's okay. It isn't for you. The people that understand the value realize that you respect mostly what you have to pay for. And for me, that money is negligible. But if people aren't paying something, they just don't value it the same. It's the weirdest thing. If on your 16-year-old's birthday, you get him a brand new Shelby Cobra Mustang that's like souped up and cost you $150,000, and you thought, I got him the best gift, the kind of car I wish my dad had gotten me when I was 16. I would have valued it so much. He's going to wrap it around a telephone pole within 2 weeks. He's going to drive it fast because it doesn't know how to value. It doesn't appreciate. He didn't have to put all the blood, sweat, and tears it took to earn that, to realize that he has to take care of it, and he's not going to value it appropriately. And the problem with free education is that it often doesn't get valued appropriately. CRO down big time. Let's check out CRO. We just covered that on Wednesday. And remember, some guy jumped in. Okay, well, it's not down massively. It peaked at 37 cents. It's down to 29 cents. I guess somewhat that's massively. But they just did that partnership, right, with Trump Media Corporation or whatever. That guy jumped in the stream and he's like, I'm here for CRO. And then when Paul and I gave our thoughts on CRO, he's like, oh, these boomers don't know what they're talking about with CRO. It's like, yeah, you're probably not right for this audience. It's probably the wrong place for you to be. And that's cool. Like, bye-bye. XRP is getting wrecked. That is a good thing, right? Like, XRP has amazing long-term potential. You pray that it gets wrecked. Why? Well, in order to do well, you want to buy as low as possible. So it's back under $3, which is good. Under $3, it's an amazing buy. I don't know that it's going to go back to like the prices. I don't think you may get back to this 280 zone and stuff, but I think you'd be lucky. See this lower trend line? Like, it's near the lower trend line. It's a good buy. I think XRP goes this bull run to over $100. I think in the coming 10 years, I think XRP might be at $1,000. So it's a good long-term investment, XRP, as well as high likelihood for good passive income on your XRP. So if you're buying XRP at $3 and it goes to $300, and say it pays you 3% a year in returns, well, you 100x your money. So every year you're getting paid 3 times what you put into it in passive income. It's an amazing bet, right? Like, will they all come together that way? Wait, it may not, but I would say it's highly likely to. Purple Llama says, amazing answer. Could you talk about the different tiers in the Discord and the benefits of each tier? I think this will help anyone on the fence decide if they want to join and what tier. Well, so the basic tier, like, you need to jump in. If you want more of my time. Now, my billing time per hour now is $1,000. So if somebody's like, hey, Rain, I want a private hour with you, it's $1,000. Joining the Discord, like, I interact decently frequently there, but also some of the benefits are the other members there. So here's what I realized in 2020, leading up to that bull run, was like, I realized there was more opportunities than what I was seeing. Like, I didn't even remember about a Comey when the price was devastatingly lower. I would have loaded up during the bear market, but I didn't even know where to get information on it because I was just watching YouTube videos and nobody on YouTube was covering it. But I thought, so I missed some opportunities I would have bought, but it was just me doing the research. And I had a few other friends, but they were mostly in it for the Cardano. I was the only one outside, like, looking at other projects and diversifying across other projects. A lot of my friends were like, I love Cardano. I love Charles Hoskinson. I'm throwing everything behind him. And I told them, I think that's a solid bet. I just don't put all my eggs in one basket. And they're like, oh, I do. I put all my eggs in one basket. So they were fine with that. But I thought, what if we could grow a community of like-minded people who think like investors? There would be less missed. Now, a lot of my rainmakers in the Discord did not miss out on the ISO coins. Why? Because Sale, who's here in the chat, has 30 years experience in the corporate world at a high level on the payment side of things. And he knew exactly what was going on with XRP and the ISO coins. And we had lots of private chats. In fact, on the Friday private chat streams that we do every Friday for those that are in the Discord, I gave him the mic and had him take control and share with everyone what the hell was going on with the ISO coins, because it was clearly a big deal. And he knew 10 times about it more than I did, at least, maybe even 100 times more about it than I did. And I knew he was onto something. And I wanted everyone to hear, because these were amazing deals that I wasn't even aware of the extent of what the amazing deal was, but I wanted them to benefit. Now, many of the people in the Rainmaker Discord, this is their first bull run they're prepared for. And after this, they're going to be really, really good, almost like they've kind of gotten their master's degree over this first bull run in research and stuff. So there will, going into this next bear market, provide huge benefits to each other, as we have to identify what are the best deals in that bear market, because the best deals in that bear market are going to be different than what was the best deals in this bear market. A perfect example of that is Engine Coin. I mean, look at this. Are you glad you, like, I don't know if Engine Coin is a good long-term project. It was an amazing one for this bear market, but I don't know that they've stayed relevant. So have I loaded up in this bear market? No. Now, they'll probably improve from here in the coming bull market, but I don't know that they're going to be around long term. So this isn't one that's interesting to me, even though it's one that made me a bunch of money. So some of the ones that make us huge amounts of money in this coming bull run aren't necessarily the best buys in the following bear market. We have to watch them and see how relevant they stay. As far as like the other tiers, so gold level gives you way more access to me. My gold members, when they DM me, and I tell them to DM me, they get quickest turnaround times. Remember, I bill at $1,000 an hour. And so they get better access to me. Essentially, they get my time at a huge discount because they're gold members. And at the diamond level, at $500 a month, I give you my private cell phone number. You can call me. Remember, it's $1,000 an hour. So anyone who wants that kind of consulting, they're better off just joining the diamond tier. Why? So that they can get it for $500 a month now until we raise the prices. And yeah, they'll get way more time that way than they would any other way. So like, that's the better buy there, is just joining the Discord. So those are the different levels. So also we do some behind the scenes interviews. So what I don't often tell people on live videos is that we often, a lot of the projects that we're interested in, I get them to come on for private chats with just our Discord members. And there they'll often tell us information way deeper than they can do on a public video. And so the behind the scenes research that sometimes I'm able to get, well, that provides me an avenue so that we all get that kind of information at the same time. So like, I make sure to let them know, hey, this is a private interview. This is never going to be aired live, so anything you can share with us, do. And so oftentimes we'll get really good information in there. Not information that can't be disclosed, but information that likely they're just waiting on the timing to get maximum benefit and stuff. So you find out some information early there. And for that, you've got to be in the Discord. But the Discord just tells me that you're really serious about this. And so I'm able to give you more because you're showing up better, because you're raising your hand and saying, I'm completely serious about this. And so I give you more. I give you access to more, as well as a community that you become friends with that are on the same journey and the same path as you. It is the best place to be in crypto, is that Rainmaker community. Now, will everyone join? No. And it's not meant for everyone. We want the people that think this way, that listen to my videos and say, yes, This is what I'm looking for. Those are the people we want in there. We don't want those that like there's a lot of people who just their thinking isn't right and we can't help them and they won't mesh well if they were to come in there. Sports seems like it stabilized more than in the past. What's your confidence level on this project? They seem to be surviving really well during the bear market. So I'd say there's probably a 90% chance or higher that they survive until the blockchain gaming bull run hits or that part of the bull run. And in that environment, I think they do extremely well. So I would say 90 to 95% chance they survive. And then what kind of upside could they see? Probably 40 to 200x is my guess. Maybe even higher because their token price is so low. Where do you think Illuvium goes this run? Well, that's a great question, Chris. Illuvium. Currently at $14. It did spike up to $22, came back down. I think it goes into, I don't know. Probably blockchain gaming becomes a huge deal this bull run, and it's going to go somewhere between this is my guess, $1,200 to like $5,000 a token is my guess. Realize that there's a lot more tokens in circulation now than there was during this 2021 price run. So the market cap is going to be a lot higher should this token go back to $1,800 or $1,900 like it was last bull run. But I think blockchain gaming is going to be a really big deal. And I think in that environment, it does have those kind of gains. Boy. All right. OMI hit 1 cent last cycle with way more supply, right? And way less utility. So there wasn't more supply back then because the teams hadn't had their tokens vested to them. They have since burned some tokens, but those weren't ever effectively in the supply. And so there is way more tokens in circulation now than there was back then. But you're right, it had no utility back then. Well, back then, in the early days, you could put it on the platform and send it around, but almost no utility. It's got way more utility now, correct? But it does have way more supply. So we'll see where it goes, but I think it surpasses its previous cycle highs. And can you pose your question to them? What question is that, Dale? Oh, and you can pose your questions to them. Yeah, so when you come on in the interviews in the private Discord, like you get to ask the CEOs your questions. So one of the reasons I knew I had to start a channel was I was back in mid 2020, and I was trying to find out some information on a project, and I had $40,000 invested in this project, and I couldn't get past their Telegram admin to ask the question. I don't know if I hadn't put 40,000 in, but the value of my investment had gone to 40,000. And their Telegram admin didn't know anything. And then I saw that CEO come on a channel that had like 1,400 subscribers. And that person wasn't even very familiar with the project and didn't ask good questions. And I thought, man, what if I could create a YouTube channel and I get a big enough audience that I could ask them actually good, relevant investor questions and that I could benefit from it because I can't even get my questions answered here. And what if I grew an audience of like-minded people that wants answers to the same questions too? So that's what the first interviews were like. Now you notice that we're able to go live so that you can ask them the questions. But even better, than the regular YouTube channels that are live. When we do the private ones, you get to still ask them your questions, but in a private setting. And so you'll often get even more in-depth answers there. It's amazing. So I didn't even think about that when I first started the YouTube channel, but I always think about things. What would I want if I were just the investor, and what would I want to know so I can make better informed decisions? So when I first started, I didn't use StreamYard. StreamYard has made it even easier to do these kind of things. And so in some, like we had a gold interview with Paul last Friday, and there was few enough people, I was able to give them the StreamYard link directly. So they were able to join right in on video, ask Paul the questions right there. And we've done that sometimes with some of the CEOs. Sometimes we then have to still make a video, and you can ask your questions even through either through the Discord as you're watching it live, or through the comments as you're watching it live, but it does not have public access. So unless you had the link, you can't get into that video. Pink Panther, I still have my tot I got in store. It sold out the same day. Nice. What token have you talked about that you are the most excited for? Some of the ones I'm most excited for is, well, Devi, Definity, and Nakomi are my favorite, my trinity of favorites. All three of them. Now, Comey's like double the price it was. Like, that price was so juicy, and it's still really juicy. But those are my favorites. They're massively, their market caps are not even at prices that make sense for how far along they are. But it just is what it is. That sometimes the bear market prices swing to prices they should never hit, and yet they do. That's the great thing. So those are my very favorite three right now. Other things I like, that's a long list. Like, I love the NFL all day moments. I don't follow American football. Like, I don't really follow any sports these days. The UFC strike I like, but like, I don't know what's going on with them moving to Aptos. So right now you can't presently buy any of the moments. I like the VV collectibles tremendously, especially the comics. I think some of those comics are going to be absolutely see monster gains in the future. So those are some of my favorites. But there's a big list of other favorites. So yeah. Lucky guy, Pink, getting it in this store the same day it sold out. Yeah, that was pretty lucky. It seemed like it would be available for forever, and then they started moving really quickly all of a sudden. The Marvel Comics #1 was my first 100X. Chris, congratulations. Those 100Xs are the best. Hey, Rain, would it be wise to swap your OMI from ETH to base so when price goes up, you save on selling fees? I don't know. See, you might be able to send it in. See, by the time you're selling, OMI might be available on a centralized exchange, and you might be doing your selling then. Maybe you'll be swapping it on base and using a DEX to swap it. I don't know. So for now, like, I haven't sent my OMI over to base. I just wait to see until it's take profits time. Then I'll make that decision then. Yeah. Chris, yeah, you didn't sell. I did sell some of mine at 200x gains. So I was buying them for $2 and $3, and I was selling them for $600 or $700. But I didn't sell all of them. I wish I'd sold all of them and then just rebought them at the floor now. But oh well, I did sell a bunch though. But most people didn't. It seemed like it would go up for forever. I just knew enough to know, gosh, this FOMO is so high. Take a whole bunch of profits. Pink Panther says, Rain, Ripple keeps dumping tokens nonstop for years now. Well, you have our resident Ripple expert, XRP expert in the chat here. Sale. Yeah, let Sale respond to that. Am I concerned? No. Like one of the team members that like had a falling out, he's been dumping his tokens for years. There's still far fewer. Like if you were to see the chats on this in the private Discord, this would not even be a concern for you. There are way fewer XRP tokens in circulation than will be needed in the future, and most people haven't realized that yet. That's why it's still so cheap at prices it shouldn't be. I just bought Marvel #1. Have big hopes for that one. I think that one's going to always be special. I think that one will be a grail that a lot of people want. What's my VV handle? Is Crypto Rain, I think, with no spaces. Capital C, capital R. I can double check that. Yeah, Crypto Rain with no spaces. Chris says, Sale typing furiously in the chat. Sale does the most amazing in-depth research. Like he will inundate you with research on XRP. And he knows the payment space so much, but what is coming for XRP, most of the world has not woken up to. It's going to be such a big deal, and everyone's going to be talking about XRP in the future. I suspect at some point XRP's market cap does surpass Bitcoin's again. People say that can't happen. The people that say that don't realize it's already happened once. It happened in 2017. Maybe it was early 2018, but it has already happened once. And it can happen again. I think it probably will. It's totally different than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's more like a digital gold. XRP, essentially most of the financial transactions in the world are going to be happening on XRP's ledger, as well as I think a lot of assets get put on XRP. So as they're put on blockchain. Looking to pick up Amazing Spider-Man #15. I think you mean Amazing Fantasy #15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man. Sale says Ripple is not dumping. Time releases from the escrow for liquidity. 70 to 80 is locked back up in a day. Ripple is building out a network that is adding huge value to XRP. That is a great condensed way to share that. Yeah, there's so much coming for XRP. You really need to join the Discord. In the Discord, you want to go into the crypto adoption, and there will be more information you can read on what's happening XRP there than you could ever get it. Like, what's funny is you can find videos with all these world leaders talking about how they're moving things onto XRP. But yet it's just not widely known, and the regular media doesn't talk about it at all. They're pretty much unaware themselves, but it is happening. I am definitely going to Vegas. There's just a slight chance that I'll go to New York Comic Con. Got an Amazing Fantasy 15 secret rare on the drop. Oh, Nicholas, that's awesome. That's awesome. I don't have that kind of luck anymore. I got lucky once on a secret rare. I never get the secret rares anymore. Like never. I usually end up with commons and uncommons almost all the time. So I mostly just buy stuff off the resale market because often the commons and uncommons will go for cheaper. And with my luck, I don't know why, I never get I never get the secret rares. I think I got one really good secret rare comic off the drop literally like 2.5 years ago. And that was the last time. I probably bought about 100 comics off the drop since then and not one other secret rare. Thoughts about Flare. Dale can take you way deep down that rabbit hole, but essentially Flare is essential to some parts of the XRP ledger. And so, like, let's look at what its price is. I know many in our private Discord were able to participate in the Flare drops and get Flare. And, you know, it's at a decent price at 2.2 cents. Its market cap is already 1.6 billion. This is something its market cap could go to 100 billion. So 50x plus potential from here. Maybe it goes above that. But Flare is a significant long-term investment. So what I like about XRP and what I like about Flare is that a lot of the backbone of the new financial system are going to be built on these projects. XRP more than anything, but Flare is likely to be right in there. And its market cap is a lot lower than a lot of the other projects that have significant importance in that ecosystem. So, yeah, I agree. Easy 5x, probably far more than that in the coming bull run. Yeah. That's a great question to ask Sale in depth on in the Discord. Sale is completely on top of that. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? What's going on? In the meantime, if you haven't taken this course, you might consider this a quick commercial on the Zero to Crypto Hero course. Here you go.
If you were like most of us, we came into crypto for life-changing gains, but were you aware that 89% of people do rather poorly in crypto? Only 5% achieve massive gains, and it's because they're doing things differently than most in crypto do. If you want to learn what most successful people in crypto do different, my Zero to Crypto Hero course will show you 5 massive mistakes to avoid and 3 things you need to be doing right.
Well, that was strange. So when I went to the video, it automatically locked out my microphone and my camera, and that messed up everything. So I had to leave the studio and come back in. So there's kind of a brief pause there for a second. All right. What other questions do you guys have? Any other thoughts or questions? Nothing? All right. Guys, it's been a fun stream. Hope you've enjoyed it. We are almost an hour and a half into this. We'll see y'all soon. This wrap, you guys know what this wrap is all about. Enjoy.
Came into the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit right before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I stick the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I'll sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to studying to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this road could soon become a bear market. We're learning and growing, and when it's slow, would be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the bull will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, let the haters be crafting. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.